big news right now, or the big rumor, is that WWE may be forced to cancel WrestleMania 36 because of the coronavirus. Obviously, this is a global issue right now, and California just declared a state of emergency, and down in Florida, where WrestleMania is due to take place, they have declared a public health emergency. So it's just crazy around the universe, and even here over the UK. If you go to a shopping centre or a supermarket right now in the UK, you can't get any toilet paper and you can't get any hand sanitizer again, because everybody is just so scared of what could happen. However, despite all of this, WWE is not going to cancel WrestleMania 36, or at least that's what they're saying right now. Why? Here's why. The first reason for this is the most obvious one. Cast your mind back into the past and think about all the terrible things we have seen on some WWE pay-per-views and how they didn't stop and they just kept on going. And this is WrestleMania, the biggest of all the events, the biggest of all the shows. Nothing is bigger than WrestleMania. So even if Vince McMahon has to literally take it and put it on his back and swim across to Saudi Arabia to ensure it happens in early April, that's probably what the chairman of the board will do. How you physically grab WrestleMania, I don't know, but he's Vince McMahon, he would find a damn way. As this carnage does go down though, and there have been a couple of reported cases in the Tampa area, WWE spoke to ESPN and they said, look, we hear all of this and nothing is more important to us than the health and safety of our fans and our employees. But as of today, as of right now, WrestleMania 36 is go like Thunderbirds. They went on to say they're monitoring the situation closely, but they remain committed to their big extravaganza that they're having at Raymond James Stadium. There was also a backstage meeting with the talent to discuss this at the most recent episode of Raw, and while WWE continued on with this statement to say, much like other entertainment properties, we shall continue forward as usual, that's not 100% true. Now, is it? Again, come back over here to the United Kingdom, the Isle. A big Six Nation rugby game got cancelled. That's kaput. That's not going to happen. In the Italian Serie A, the Football League, they've cancelled loads of games. They won't even do it behind closed doors. They don't want to risk nothing. And there's even been talk of delaying the Olympics. The Olympics, one of the biggest sports that takes over the entire earth. And it obviously comes down to what the situation is in Florida on that given day or in the prior week. I actually think this is quite disconcerting. After all, large gatherings, especially when people are traveling, is where the fear begins. Again, that's the reason sporting events are just saying ain't nobody allowed in here, because they think it could start to spread. I know it's not a massive problem in the United States of America right now, but that's what they said over here in Britain too. They're like, don't worry, there's only been 3 or 4 cases, and then within the last 24 hours, they went, oh, actually, we're now over 100. We don't really know why it's spreading so fast. So all it takes is one person to make the trip, not even know that they're sick, sit in a big venue with 50,000 plus people, and who knows, maybe that's the catalyst about why it does blow up in America, because this one person, this one moron that had no idea, just wanted to enjoy WrestleMania, and now they infected one of the biggest countries on the planet. The real twist is that if Mania was cancelled, well, not many people would care. I mean, you would care and I would care, and the wrestling community would care, but it would also mean other things were getting thrown into the trash bin, and they would be the gets all the news coverage. That's just how wrestling works. I know it sucks, but some things are up here, and wrestling gets to like here in the list. I mean, take the European Championships, the soccer tournament that's meant to happen this summer. If that gets killed, and believe you me, any newspaper you get, front and back, will be saying, oh my word, we cancelled Euro 2020. And Cristiano Ronaldo's name will be written a lot because that's what they do, but that will be massive. The reason I mention this is because if this is the reason WrestleMania 36 gets cancelled, ain't no one gonna be up in arms about it. The well-being of individuals and the human race is far more important than wanting to boo Goldberg because he became the Universal Champion again. Even though it wasn't Goldberg's fault, he just accepted a phone call from Vince McMahon and went, yeah, cool, that sounds great. Well, that's what most people are doing. I have now realized I am all right with this as long as Roman Reigns beats Goldberg for that championship, and in John Cena versus Bray Wyatt takes out Cena, because then post-WrestleMania, in the April lull, you'll actually have 2 current stars that have a lot of momentum, and maybe they even clash in the program. I actually think that works out quite well. The reality of the situation is, though, is that it's out of WWE's hands. They may not want to cancel it, but what are they going to do if the government says to everybody, you're not allowed to do this? They're going to put it on a boat and sail it into the middle of the sea and then call Lex Luger up and get him to slam Yokozuna on said boat? There's many reasons why that can't happen, and also it would draw a terrible buy rate. Nobody is going to want to be on that boat see Lex Luger slamming people. But let's not pretend this isn't a big deal. I mean, it's taken up so many news columns and so many websites. That's all people want to talk about it. And WrestleMania, as of right now, is only 4.5 weeks away. Last time I checked my calendar on my fake watch, that ain't a lot of time. I know I'm a little bit worried, and you've got to imagine some people backstage at WWHQ are feeling the same. I mean, they killed an airline over here. I mean, that airline was already in financial trouble, but because they had to stop loads of flights, we wouldn't spread this disease around, that was the end. That was the bullet in the head. This is a big deal. I think the most fascinating thing about this, especially from a fan's point of view, is what if, hypothetically speaking, WrestleMania was cancelled? When do you even reschedule it for when you don't know what the future holds? How would you feel about having WrestleMania in the summer? But what about the knock-on effects? When do you do SummerSlam? When do you do Survivor Series? Does it affect the Royal Rumble early next year if we go through a whole calendar year and we don't get the Showcase of the Immortals? We don't get the best of them all. What about the Universal Championship? What about the WWE title? Do we do the Roman Reigns change on the WWE Network in some random arena? Does Bray Wyatt beat John Cena in a field millions of miles away from anybody else? I don't know what you would even be able to get away with. And that's when this whole 365-day-a-year, 7-day-a-week wrestling schedule actually gets into your head and drives you crazy. Because I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before. I mean, the motto has always been, we mentioned it earlier, the motto has always been, you keep on trucking forward regardless what happens, but you can't when someone bigger than you goes, hey ho, it's time to calm down, it's time to stop. And let's say that WWE put two fingers up to them and went, nah, we're gonna carry on regardless. John Cena ain't gonna do that. John Cena's not gonna risk his newfound Hollywood fame on that kind of a juncture. Daniel Bryan's not gonna do that. Mr. Environmentalist, he would be totally against that. Kevin Owens, who knows who else would say, that's not going down. And then you enter a whole new array of problems. I tell you, while right now it's kind of simmering under the surface, and I hope it stays that way, and I hope it all just goes away and we can just forget about it, the consequences this could have would be ratifying. I don't even know what that means. It's heard it that day. I thought it was like a good word, but it would be massive. And we're just focusing on the product here. What about the thousands of fans that have spent money on flights, spent money on hotels, spent money on tickets? You can't just flush that away. I mean, would WWE give you a refund? Would they tell you that they'll make good for you in a few months' time? Would you even be happy with that? You're probably taking time off work too. Sometimes that's hard to claim back. So it really is just a powder keg waiting to explode. I don't think we're all thinking this through clearly enough. I guess the only thing you could do is have an empty arena pay-per-view. I don't actually think that's happened before. I know the odd match has, but there's probably some old territory that gave it a go. But would you watch that as a fan? Would you really sit down in early April and turn on your television set knowing there's going to be no boos, there's going to be no cheers, there's going to be no what chance Roman Reigns ain't going to get any heat when he comes out? I don't think you would, because as we always forget, or when we should remember more, I should say, the fans are the most important part of the WWE experience. So it's going to be an interesting few weeks, and mostly I hope we can just get past this and go back to enjoying the little things, or go back to being annoyed by the little things, such as the secret of Eric Rowan's cage being a fake spider, although I've come up with a solution to this. As long as WWE make Eric Rowan and the Spider the best of friends, and the Spider accompanies Eric Rowan to the ring and cheers him on from ringside, I will actually be all right with this, and I'll get behind the concept. Oh, I saw this really good theory, right? This is really good. Actually, it's not a spider that was the secret of Eric Rowan's cage. It all depends on the person looking into said cage. So maybe next week there's, I don't know, the Eiffel Tower in there because somebody is scared of heights. That would be really, really cool and kind of Saw-esque. I don't know how you pull that off on a weekly wrestling show, but that's a much better idea than a fake spider. I mean, that won't happen, and my idea before that won't happen, but again, I'm just trying to see the good. I'm trying to swim through the sea of positivity, and mostly I just want Eric Rowan and a spider to be best friends. And we have kind of tried this stuff before. Remember Saturn with Moppy, Al Snow with Head? That didn't make any sense on paper, and yet now I'm still talking about it, and that must have been 2 decades ago. So why can't we have Eric Rowan and his spider pal named Dave? That's what I call it. Dave and Eric. All jokes aside, make sure you take care of yourself, because nothing is more crucial than that. And again, while WWE may not want to cancel WrestleMania 36, it could be taken away from them. Somebody else decides it can't go down, which is a real shame. Why couldn't this happen a year ago, around about the same time, and then we wouldn't have got Super Showdown 2019, we wouldn't have that match between my dad Bill and The Undertaker, we all would have been a lot happier for it. Obviously, in Dream World, let's hope none of this ever happens again. But those, my friends, are the facts. facts. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about all of this, and try and be nice. Sometimes people go crazy about this kind of stuff. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to What Culture Wrestling. Make sure you head over to whatculture.com and read yourself some articles. Find out firsthand if WrestleMania 36 does get cancelled. Follow What Culture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE. Watch more videos here on About Culture Wrestling. My name is Simon from What Culture. Thank you very much for watching the Y series, and deep down, I don't think WrestleMania 36 will get cancelled. That's going to be my guess. That's going to be the thing that I throw out there. But ultimately, I don't know. I didn't think football would cancel games. Trust me, football will go on regardless, and yet they stopping it because they just can't control the outbreak. But again, you stay safe, you stay, and make sure other people are safe as well. That's all that really matters. Health and safety is the priority. I send you all my best.